Hey guys, it's Brian. I am back with the final Stranger Things review. This is going to be the season 5 finale, episode 8, The Right Side Up. Guys, I really like this episode. There were problems with it. Stranger Things is now over. It was time to say goodbye. I have many thoughts on this episode, so yeah, let's get started. Also, I hope you all had a blessed new year. We have much to do. There's a lot of things we're going to do for 2026. And yeah, let's get started. This is my first video for 2026. So the episode starts out with, obviously it's black, and then we see the Mac area. We see the gate where the characters, drove the truck through from Dr. K to like get into the Upside Down. And we have the soldiers, Dr. K, their reinforcements have arrived because remember, Hopper and Nancy killed a few guys and they're interrogating some dude about how the gate opened up. Why did you open the gate like that? Even though the soldier says he didn't open the gate. And that was because, remember, Mr. Clark hacked the gate. Remember that? He remotely hacked the gate with a transmission frequency thing. And Dr. K is kind of noticing this because she saw a radio kit not far from where the soldier was. So, yeah, she's getting an idea of like, hey, somebody is affecting us, somebody was the one doing it. And meanwhile, back in the Upside Down, on top of Hawkins' lab, we have the characters driving to Hawkins' lab, and they drop off Elle and them. So they exit the truck, and we have Mike and Elle. Mike is trying to tell Elle again, hey, it'll be okay, things will go wrong, but, we'll make it through. We will kill Vecna, we'll deal with this military stuff, it'll all be okay, Elle hugs Mike, and then she leaves with Murray, with Callie, and Hopper. They're gonna go into the lab to put, Callie and Elle, so they can protect their minds to kill Vecna, and yeah, that's pretty much what happens. Unfortunately, though, the soldiers caught them. We have the lieutenant guy who's able to, he's able to, see that they dropped off Elle, and they're gonna go after them. And he doesn't want the soldier to alert the doctor or general. Like, honestly, Dr. K is just such a confusing character. Like, what her rank is, I don't get it. Because if she's a general, then why not say general? That outranks a doctor. But if she's a doctor, then they should not report to her. You know what I mean? It's confusing. She's just a terrible villain. So meanwhile, back in Henry's mind, we have him doing his weird ritual thing with the kids, infecting their minds with the mind flare and his power, I guess, so that he can channel them all into doing the same thing that Will did for him. They're bringing the abyss to Earth, and we see the kids in the abyss dimension. We have Derek and Holly and all the other kids, Denise, just everyone, or is it Wendy? No, Debbie, sorry. It was Debbie. But yeah, anyways, we have Vecna here in the Upside Down with the weird tooth thing. I really hate how the thing is pulsating. It's gross. But yeah, the weird crab, spider hand up thing, claw thing in the sky. We see that, obviously, in the Abyss dimension. And then meanwhile, we have the characters. It goes down. It goes down, and we see the from the abyss to the Upside Down, and we see the ground of the Upside Down. Because remember, it's above. The abyss is the dimension above the Upside Down. And meanwhile, we have the title, the last title card for Stranger Things. Season 5, Chapter 8. The Right Side Up. That's a play on words like the Upside Down, obviously. And then meanwhile, we have the Church of Hawkins, and we have, Mr. Clark, kind of worried about the others, hoping they'll be okay. He's still kind of new to this. And, Erica reassures him everyone's going to be okay. And she kind of asked him, like, hey, she curses a little bit. And she's like, hey, how does it feel to save the world and help us, all this stuff. We don't really get his feedback on it too much. But he is excited. And then, unfortunately, though, he sees that the military soldiers are coming for them, the Humvees. And they break through the... a church to move in. They track down the frequency, I guess, and they're moving in. And then Dr. K even discovers the Squawk radio tower van, so she gets another lead. So yeah, it's not going well. This is bad. Meanwhile, at the Squawk, the radio station, Vicky is just she's there with Max. She's a little bit on edge and stuff. And yeah, so meanwhile, back at the van, we have Nancy and everyone getting ready. They get out of the truck, and they're getting ready to climb up the tower. And yeah, I was a little bit confused at Steve's plan at first, because like it was like, hey, let's go to the radio tower and climb on it, and then we'll climb up it to the abyss. I was kind of like, how is that gonna work? You know what I mean? But yeah, now looking back on it, the plan does make more sense when you see it more in this perspective. Jonathan tells everyone to be careful as they climb up the ladder, and yeah, apparently it's like 500 feet tall or something, so yeah, pretty tall ladder. So meanwhile, we have Murray, who's filling up. They went into the Upside Down lab, Hawkins' lab, and he's filling up the generators with gas so that they could turn on the power and do the bath thing. And Elle is there with Callie, and Elle just has her PTSD flashbacks of when she was in the lab in Hawkins, doing experiments, the scientist doing experiments on her. Hopper tells Murray to be careful with the C4. I like the joke how Murray was like, yeah, I'll be very uncareful with it, like, because if I'm not, like, we all die. So they turn on the lights and all that. That happens. Not sure why it's taking the military so long to find them, but yeah. Also, I find it interesting that everything works in the Upside Down, like, in that way. You just give it gas and stuff. That's kind of interesting. So yeah, Hopper opens the hatch with dirty water, I must say, for Elle to like go into the bath, all that stuff. And he does tell Elle like one last time to like, hey, we're gonna stop Vecna, and also he mentions with Dr. K and her plans and all that. We will solve that another time. Like he just, he's trusting Elle to get this done, wanting her to come back to him, like all that stuff. Like, we're gonna do this, So he puts the helmet on Elle, and she goes into the water. He secures it with the lock. Not sure why he needs to like lock it, but yeah. Also, Callie just puts a blindfold on. It's kind of interesting how Callie doesn't need the bath, but Elle does. Was there ever a reason for that? I don't know. But anyways, moving on. Will and Mike, they're climbing up the tower, and Mike takes a quick break, gets some water, so does Will. And Mike is just kind of mentioning to Will, hey, sorry, but you had to go through all that stuff. With the whole not liking girls thing, I should have known. I should have suspected, you were going through something like that and needed to talk to somebody. And Will's just like, no, it's fine, man. We can still, nothing's really changed. We can still be best friends. And Mike's like, yeah. Will said we can still be friends, and Mike's like, no, we're best friends. So meanwhile, back in the Squawk radio station, Vicky keeps pacing. She's nervous, and Max is like, hey, they're gonna be okay. And then she's just like, hey, are you hungry? I need to eat something. It was funny. I like how in Stranger Things characters always bring up food, because yeah, food is part of life. So yeah, I don't know, I like that. So meanwhile, we have Max, who starts to notice something. First off, she's moving her hands a bit, which she didn't really do prior, and then she's moving her legs too, standing up. And I'm like, oh wait a minute, no, this doesn't make any sense. There's no way she's walking like this. It just doesn't make sense. And the floor is super wet. There's water everywhere, and I'm like, oh, this has to be like Vecna or something messing with her mind. And Max opens the doors to the radio station, and yeah, she's actually in Elle's mind, and she's with Elle and Callie, and she's gonna go with them to find Henry and kill him. And meanwhile, we have Jonathan, who climbs up the tower, and we have everyone here now in the Upside Down on top of the tower, getting ready for the plan. And yeah, it's absolutely crazy that they're doing this. Even Lucas looks one last time at the Upside Down. It's like, yeah, we're gonna destroy this place. It's just honestly kind of crazy. I wonder if the Upside Down goes on forever. You know what I mean? Like, or does it have like a limit? You know, I'm genuinely curious on that. But yeah, the plan starts happening. The abyss starts crashing into the Upside Down. And then Murray is kind of like he contacts Hopper, and it's just like, yeah, Hop, good news, bad news. Good news, the theory was correct, and the bad news, the theory was correct. You know, it's happening right now. Because Hopper's inside, he can't see it, but he's just like, yeah, that abyss dimension, it's gonna come crashing down on us, and it's gonna kill us. You know, it's happening now. You know, we have very little time right now. And then Elle is meanwhile in the tub, and they see Vecna, who's just like kind of floating there, and it's just like, yeah, can we kill him? And it's like, yeah, unfortunately we can't do it here because I don't think Elle can use her powers like that. She can't use her telekinesis in this way. And meanwhile, we have Max who gets teleported to the high school where apparently Vecna used to go. It was part of this weird play thing, the first Shadow. And apparently, this play reveals a lot of backstory that like Henry Vecna went to high school with Joyce and Hopper and Mrs. Wheeler and just like Steve's dad, and just apparently he had like bullying issues, and just the problem with the play was traumatic for him, or you know, there was just something there that really made him a monster. And I don't know how he could have went to the school while also being you know, going to the upside down, to the Hawkins lab. I'm really not sure how any of this works, but yeah, Callie's just like, hey, how do we do this? And you know, how do we find Vecna? And she's like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. So yeah, they were mentioning the play, obviously. Like I said, I just, I don't know. It's just, it is kind of confusing that this scene, like, the whole high school thing, I don't know. It's confusing how Henry could have went to high school. But yeah, Max gets an idea. Also, she mentions that Mr. Wheeler and Mrs. Wheeler are together, which doesn't make sense. I feel like that's a retcon because Mr. Wheeler is actually much older than his wife. So yeah, I don't know. He's like, what, 8 years older? That doesn't make sense. There's no way they could be dating in high school because of the age gap. But so meanwhile, we have Max. Oh yeah, Vicky noticed that Max was in a trance, and you know, she's not moving. She's in Elle's mind, and unfortunately, the military come through the radio station, and they're looking for them. But fortunately, Vicky was able to hide Max in the basement stairs in the secret compartment behind the shelf, and fortunately, Dr. K doesn't notice it, and Vicky closes it, and they stay quiet. So then after that, we have Lucas, who this was something that I was going to mention prior. He is able to catch something, how like, hey, the abyss is going to crush us through the tower, because the little antenna, it's not going to go through the abyss dimension. It's not going to do that. It's not going to line up. Crushes the tower. It's going to crush us all. We're not going to be able to reach the portal hole. You know what I mean? There's that issue, which I kind of feel like, yeah, maybe they should have thought about that. Like, I don't know. But Lucas, yeah, sorry. Not Lucas, sorry. Dustin goes on the radio and says, hey, Chief, you got to get Elle to stop the. I like how time sensitive it is. It's like 30 seconds, like we're gonna die, which is crazy. And then Max, Elle, and Callie go to the play, and it's this weird, goofy play about death and stuff. It's just weird. They're dancing. I don't know what it's about, honestly. It's kind of weird. But yeah, I'm surprised that the metal antenna was able to stop the abyss for a little bit. I thought it was immediately gonna get crushed. Like, that's weird. But yeah, Hopper's telling Elle to hurry up, and the radio tower is getting crushed by the stalactite, by the planet, the abyss, and the plague is continuing. And then we still get, yeah, by the way, guys, sorry, I'm still kind of sick, so dealing with that. But yeah, the antenna for the radio tower is getting crushed, and it is causing the tower to be unstable, and the characters are trying not to fall off. And when the curtains drop in for the play, Max says now, and they just run through, and they're able to get into the dining room where Henry is possessing the kids, and Elle is able to smack him out of the room through the window. And back in the Upside Down, Steve almost falls to his death, and the characters are just in shock because the tower was unstable. He almost fell and died. But they leave it on a cliffhanger for a commercial break or whatever. But then Jonathan's able to save Steve, pull him up, and yeah, that's interesting. I didn't think Steve was gonna die. So yeah, he pulls him up, and Dustin's very happy to see he's alive. That he didn't die. They tell Hopper that everyone's okay, and meanwhile we have Max who hugs Holly. She's back, and the kids are shocked and scared of Max because they think she's a monster. But then she tells them that no, I'm not a monster. I can prove it. So meanwhile we have Nancy who comes into the abyss dimension. It's she goes through the upside down portal, and she's looking like that girl from Alien, with the guns and stuff, and the girl also from Resident Evil, Alice, and then yeah, the characters are just getting ready. They have to climb up. I feel like they should have had some rope or something. Like looking back on this, like yeah, this was kind of a bad plan because Dustin like he could fall to his death right here. I'm just saying, like, even though they're balancing him, he could still fall to his death. Like, just yeah, it's not safe. Like, definitely they didn't think this through 100%. But yeah, they all climb out and they see the abyss dimension, and everything's dead. I'm not sure why there's not demogorgons and demodogs and all that, but yeah, Dustin and them are just like shocked and amazed. They've never been to the abyss, dimension, so it's like wow, and they make a Neil Armstrong joke. So yeah. Meanwhile, in Vecna's mind, he comes back, Henry, and he notices that the kids are gone. And then Max, sorry, not Max. Elle says that the kids are with Max, and Henry won't touch them. And then he starts levitating Elle, and then we actually see that Callie is doing a projection where the kids are invisible, and there's yeah, Henry can't hear them, and they're actually seeing because Callie, they're actually seeing that Henry is a monster. He's dangerous. And he changes his arm. I guess he has to do that for power. But yeah, the kids are pretty shocked at this, and they're seeing truly that Henry lied to them. He's the monster. And Henry looks into Max, not Max, sorry, man, I keep saying that, Elle's mind to see that it is Callie. And I wonder how Callie escaped the facility, like back in season one. Like they never showed that. Like Henry massacred the kids. How did she escape? I don't know. But Henry lets go of Elle, and then he looks and sees that he knows that it's a hallucination. And he looks, but the kids are actually still gone. And then Elle pushes Henry against the table. Callie's about to stab him, but he escapes. Callie was taking too long. She tried to kill him and failed. So meanwhile, back in the abyss, we have the characters, the endgame heroes. They're just talking. Will and Mike are talking. Elle is probably fighting Vecna. They just have to keep waiting. Trust her. And then meanwhile, we have Steve and Jonathan. He talks with Jonathan about how, thanks for saving me. And, about with Nancy, like, I have given up on Nancy, like, as far as being with her romantically, and she's not with you either. And Steve kind of mentions, I'd rather have her as a friend, and just, like, Nancy is special, and just, like, she wants her own thing, I want my thing, and it's just the way it is. But they both realize that, yeah, Nancy is amazing. It's just what it is. Neither of them can be with her, and they just have to accept that. So meanwhile, we have the characters seeing the claw structure where the kids are, Vecna's hive, a nest, and then so meanwhile in Vecna's mind, the kids are running in the woods. Derek is too slow because he's really fat. Max goes back for him, telling him to run, and then Elle and Callie arrive. The characters are they're just talking, and unfortunately, back with Hopper, it looks like he comes across some herbicide stuff, or I don't know what that stuff is, like poisonous canisters or whatever, but it starts leaking, and then all of a sudden Hopper sees Sarah, his daughter that died of cancer, who blames him for what happened, and it is kind of sad. And and then Hopper sees what Elle was keeping from him, how Callie tells her that break the cycle of violence, we have to die, so that way the military doesn't have a reason to keep pursuing you and us, like, what I mean. And Hopper sees this, and then all of a sudden, Vecna invades Hopper's mind, telling him that he's gonna fail. He's gonna fail to save Elle, just like he failed Sarah. And Hopper tells him to shut up. He's a liar. He pulls out his gun, and then when Hopper sees Vecna, he shoots a bunch of bullets, and it doesn't do anything to him. But unfortunately, Hopper notices that he shot the water container where Elle is, and he looks in. And I'll admit, I was pretty shocked at this because there was blood. He starts cracking the glass, because Elle is now bleeding. She was hurt, and we back in Henry's mind, we see the kids running, and I really thought that Elle was gonna just drop dead or something right here because remember she was just shot at. We have Hopper who's breaking the glass and pulls Elle out of her mind, Henry's mind, and he breaks the glass, and then Elle vanishes completely. So does Callie. So does Max. Max tells Holly to run. She vanishes, and because they were all pulled out of Henry's mind because of what Hopper did. And we see Hopper trying to get Elle out of the tank, only to see that no, she's not actually shot. That was just a hallucination that Vecna was doing to his mind. And I guess that was part of his plan, but still, like, it's really lucky he didn't actually kill her. So unfortunately, the soldiers find Max because she screamed. She gasped when she arrived back in her body, and the soldiers find them. So does Dr. K, and it's just like, oh, gosh, can you just drop dead, Dr. K? You're not intimidating. You're just creepy and annoying. So yeah, they go into the basement and they come across the Operation Beanstalk with the plan. And at this point, it's like, yeah, you think they would notice that, yeah, the characters, these guys who are giving us trouble, they're actually trying to save the world. But yeah, we'll get to that later. So Holly is so the kids are panicking after what happened to the girls, and Holly tells everyone they just have to run, get to the cave, and that Henry won't be able to find them. They have to run. So meanwhile, we have Callie, who's just like, we have to go back and kill Henry, and Elle is like, I can't, no more bath, it's over, he blocked us now. We have to go to the abyss and kill Henry with the others. So Elle's like, we can't give up, and Hopper's like, but you tried to, and he says, I know what you tried to do. You're planning to end yourselves when we destroy the Upside Down. And Callie actually pulls a gun on Hopper. Not sure how she got it though. I guess he dropped it or something, but he didn't pick it back up. I don't know. But yeah. And Callie's just like, yeah, we can't trust Hopper and stuff. And Hopper's just not scared. It's like, you're not gonna shoot me. And Hopper tells Elle that we will defeat Dr. K and that we will defeat the cycle, but just not like this. And he tells her that, you have had a horrible life, Elle. Don't give up just don't give up to these people. Like, don't take the easy way out because people still love you and care about you. And yeah, that happens. He basically says, like, just believe in happy ending for yourself. Just try to. So meanwhile, back, we have Murray who tries to warn Hopper that the soldiers are coming, and he actually does. The soldiers are coming to the Upside Down Hawkins lab. So meanwhile, we have Holly and the kids running to the cave. They're going into the cave. Derek is once again falling behind. He trips. Holly goes get him. A portal opens up, and Henry is just running like some kind of serial killer or something. He uses his tentacles to grab Holly, but Derek pulls her back. He pulls her into the cave, and like, this was funny. Suck my fat one. Like, yeah, Derek, I'll admit that was a good moment for Derek. Like, just like forget you, Henry. Like, so they meet up with the kids back in the cave, and they think they're safe because Henry's not gonna follow them. So meanwhile, back in the abyss, Mike is looking at Nancy, and he's kind of just like, hey, Nancy, you have so many guns. Why don't you give us some guns? And she gives him her flare stuff. He's got a flare gun now. Lucas kind of calls, he kind of points that out to Mike. He's like, yeah, you only have flares, dude. And so meanwhile, we have Will, who's getting a episode from Vecna. He's he's feeling power. He's feeling weird stuff. As Mike is calling out Nancy for giving him a flare gun. So we see Will looking through Vecna's mind through the cave, and he tells the group that, hey, no, I'm looking through Henry's eyes. He's on the move. And we see Henry stepping into the cave. He's conquering his fear. He's going through the cave. He's not going to be afraid anymore. He's having PTSD. He's remembering his past when he had to kill that guy as a kid and open that briefcase. So we have Holly looking back in the cave. The kids are worried. Holly looks in because she heard something and then sees that Henry is actually in the cave, that he's not blocked off anymore. He's chasing after them like some kind of serial killer. And yeah, so Holly runs, and then Joyce is like, what's happening, and Will tells them that Henry's going after the kids, and then Holly tells everyone to run. I'll admit this was a pretty intense scene. I did like it. Tells everyone to run. Will's looking through Henry's mind, and the kids are just running. Mike is scared, and we have the kids going down the rock path to hide to run from Henry. And Henry is just like, dude, like you are a grown man and you're chasing these little kids. Like, yeah, just want to point that out. And Robin tells Will that he shouldn't invade Vecna's mind, stop him, and he's gonna try. And Joyce tells everyone to go, kill Vecna, go into the creepy thing and kill Vecna. So meanwhile, back in the Upside Down, we have the soldiers looking around for El, and not sure how the stairs aren't melted and all that, but yeah, they're looking for El, and Hopper notices something's off. The girls scream. The soldiers have that weird frequency jammer satellite gun hurting them, and it hurts their telekinesis, their powers. And there's also a helicopter outside. Hopper grabs El and he runs, leaving Callie behind. We have Vecna, Henry, who chases after them. So yeah, it's a pretty intense scene, chase. So meanwhile, back with Hopper, he is carrying El and to go somewhere to hide. And we have Murray, who has the C4 and stuff, and he's trying to figure out what to do. Hopper and El were able to hide in that room where Nancy and Jonathan almost drowned in. Not sure why the soldiers just go past it. They're not even checking that hole. Like, man, these soldiers suck. Like, and Elle is powerless. But yeah. So Callie is trying to crawl away, but she gets caught, and the soldiers catch her. But Hopper comes in, and he, like, I'll admit, this is a pretty intense scene. He just murked these soldiers pretty badly. He killed them. He was pretty good at this, killing the soldiers. But unfortunately, he gets so he's able to save Callie, but unfortunately, the lieutenant gets to jump on him. Like I don't know. Hopper had some time to like grab the butt of the rifle when the lieutenant hit him. Like, I don't know why they do that. Why in stories they do that, where a character is knocked down, they're about to get knocked out, and they just let it happen. Like I don't know. That's just weird. So meanwhile, back, Holly is able to get down into the mine shaft, and she tells the kids that, hey, you're going to see some stuff, ignore it, let's go through the mine shaft and just, keep going. So the kids are going through the mine shaft, they're staying close, and the kids even see the scientist that, was hurt, that Henry kills, and she even says, like, Derek, like, focus, as they look around, and they hear the, not here, but they go, the other dimension, the rock path, and Holly says that, okay, Debbie, you first, let's go through this, let's crawl under these rocks, we'll get home this way. And then she comes across the fire poker. So meanwhile, we have the lieutenant who threatens Hopper, and he threatens to kill Callie if he doesn't confess where Elle is, and but Hopper is not budging, and then Elle crawls out of the space to go back to them, and we have Murray, who looks like, I don't know, it looks like he put some C4 with a grenade, I guess, to blow up the helicopter. He ties it with a belt. Not sure why, because I'm pretty sure the grenade is plenty. It's a grenade is more than enough to take down a helicopter, so I don't know. But yeah, Hopper tells Lieutenant to go to hell, and then Murray, has a pretty, I don't know. I feel like this scene was overplayed. Like, he just throws a grenade at a helicopter. It's not like he jumps off a building, intense. But yeah, Murray pulls out the pin of the grenade, tosses it into the helicopter blades, and it blows up the helicopter. He definitely killed a lot of guys. Like 4 guys at least in that helicopter crash. So yeah, hooray for killing. The helicopter crash, when it blew up, knocked down the soldiers in the same room as Hopper, and the soldiers become disoriented. The helicopter crashes, and then Elle starts snapping the necks of all the soldiers in the room, minus the lieutenant guy, who she just slowly is like, yeah, she makes him shoot himself in the head. Unfortunately, they notice that Callie was shot, and Callie is fine with dying. She tells Elle, they try to save her life. Hopper tries to get a bandage, but Callie says that, my story won't end here. My story will end here. Yours won't. And, she dies, I guess. And Elle is very sad. So meanwhile, back with the characters, they are running. Not sure why it's taking so long, but yeah, the characters are running into the weird claw thing, Vecna's hive, and Henry is going through the mine shaft until Holly knocks him back with a fire poker. She hits him with it, and he grabs her and knocks her out. And then we have Henry remembering his traumatic experience in the mine shaft, where as a kid he tried to help the scientist, but unfortunately the scientist, shot him in the hand, which causes Will to feel it, and then future Henry also feels it, and Joyce is asking what's happening, and we have Elle and Hopper who get to the roof, and Murray is excited to see them, but notices they're different, and he asks what happened to Callie, and he's sad to hear she died. And then Elle looks up in the sky, and then she notices the floating rocks, and she's like, I can jump it. I'm no expert, but the abyss is like 2,000 feet in the air, like, you know what I mean? It's no, wait, no, it's 500 feet in the air now, I guess. But yeah, it's like that is still like a long way to go, like but yeah, she says she can jump it, and Hopper is definitely against it. She could die. That's a lot of power she would have to use. Elle thanks Hopper for being her dad, for helping her in the woods. We get flashbacks to throughout the things in the series, and she mentions how she didn't understand the world, but Hopper helped her when he didn't have to, and she thanks him for being her dad and everything, for helping her. But she says that I'm not Sarah. She gives him back his some kind of bracelet or something, and she does say that I'm not a kid anymore. You have to trust me to make the right choice. And then yeah, Murray is probably kind of feeling like a third wheel in this situation. So meanwhile, back in Henry's mind, he is killing the scientist. He's reliving his trauma. Young Henry is covered in blood, and he takes the briefcase from the scientist. He opens it. It's this weird rock that was being frozen, and it looks like it's probably just some powerful piece from the mind flayer, like some kind of piece of it or something. And he takes it in his hand. Kind of reminds me of like symbiote stuff or something, from Spider-Man, But anyways, he touches the rock. It was because of the mind flare he was possessed. Will feels the possession too. And even the future Henry feels the possession, and the scientist says that you got to resist it or we all die. And you have he says they will consume all, the mind flare. It's evil, and we see the mind flare a little bit, more of a smoke particles, and Henry uses his power, kills the guy, blows his brains out with his telekinesis, and Henry's just kind of shocked that he was able to do that. And then he, the bloody nose, and even and Vecna, Will invades Henry's mind, tells him that you were just a scared kid like me. It's the mind flare. He's evil. He's the one who turned you into this thing. That's why the mind flare didn't want you in that cave. He doesn't want you to remember that he possessed you. That you used to be good, Henry. That you were not born evil like we originally thought. You just were possessed by him. All this stuff happened because of him, and you can change. You can stop this. You can stop him, help us. But then, and also, I thought they might do a redemption arc for Henry where last minute he does a Darth Vader thing where he helps the characters at the end kill the mind flare. But actually, surprisingly, he doesn't, because he said, no, the mind flare showed me the truth. And we get that scene from season 4 where his father accidentally caused a baby to be burned alive, from the war. And yeah, like, he said that he showed me that the world is broken and stuff. And and yeah, I will admit Henry's not wrong about that. And we see Vecna in his physical form, and the creepy spider thing. And Henry says that I could have resisted the mind flare, but I wanted to join it. I wanted it, And the structure, the creepy thing, starts becoming alive. It's and this is like an abusive situation, because Henry says that the mind flare needed him. It needs me, and this is what people do who are abused. They say that the thing that is hurting me, it needs me, you know. And then when I saw this, I'm like, oh heck no, because the mind flare, it's all spider-like. I don't mess with spiders. It's creepy. It's gross. And also Henry tells Will that he also needs the mind flare. He needs it. And the mind flare, the creepy structure thing, Henry's hive was always just a mind flare. in a dormant form, and it it takes its full form, and it's super gross. And the characters just look on. Yeah, I mean the seven of them, like, yeah. And Henry says that we are, and then we see the mind flare. It's super gross, super creepy. And then Henry says one, like we are one, which is like it kind of reminds me of like We Are Venom or something. But yeah, the mind flare is creepy. It's gross. I mean, it's not as scary as I thought it was gonna be. It looks amazing though, and the characters are running like screw this. They're running. The mind flare is chasing after them, and we even have it where Dustin's almost killed, stabbed by the mind flare, but Lucas saves him. And the characters are running, but the mind flare traps them with his claws, and the characters think they're done for. But then the mind flare is hit with a rock, and they see that it is Elle. Elle stands up to it, and she was able to get from the upside down to the abyss, and the characters look on. Elle uses her powers to jump. I thought she might let the mind flayer eat her to like get inside its body, but no, it doesn't happen. Instead, what she does is causes a hole in the stomach, and then she jumps in. And Mike is just like, "Hey, Elle's hurting it. We have to hurt it back because she's gonna fight Vecna." And she detaches Vecna from the mind flayer, and these two are gonna square off, face off, Jedi battle kind of thing. So Mike says that we have to help her, and Dustin comes up with a plan how they have to hit the little weak points of it, with the mind flare to kill it. And yeah, the characters have a plan. Use someone as bait, draw it to there, and lay down everything they have and kill it. And Nancy offers to be bait. So back in the mind flare, super gross by the way. Elle and Vecna are going to fight it out. Nancy is distracting it, shooting her assault rifle, killing it, trying to kill it. The mind flare then is she gets its attention as everyone runs to the top of the cliffs, and Nancy runs. Jonathan tries to go after her, but Robin stops him. And inside the battle, in the mind flare, Vecna and Elle is losing, and so she causes a cloud storm to hide. And Nancy runs to the cliffs to get to hide from the mind flare as it chases after her. And Elle is like hit against one of the structures with a mind flare. I'm surprised that Vecna doesn't try to stab her into like a spike. But yeah, Nancy is running, and the rocks luckily add as a barrier for the mind flare. It can't go through all the way, and she keeps shooting at it. Nancy runs out of ammo, and she's running out of rocks space to hide, and the mind flare is right on top of her. But Jonathan uses his flamethrower. I'm surprised Nancy never used a flamethrower, because that was teased in a commercial for season 5. But yeah, Robin's throwing Molotov cocktails, and Henry's being hurt because he feels the burning just like the mind flare, and that causes Elle to get an upper hand, and she uses her telekinesis power to pin Vecna against a spike. And not sure why she's not using both hands. It doesn't really make sense. But yeah, she's trying to stab him into the spike, but Vecna is resisting too much. And Nancy uses her shotgun now and is shooting it. Lucas is using a water balloon, throwing a water balloon full of gasoline, and Mike is using the flare gun. That's kind of cool. Meanwhile, Dustin and Steve go under it with these weird gross sacks, so gross, and they stab into them. So gross. They get like sprayed on, and stabbing it. They save for Eddie, and Vecna is still feeling pain, but he's too strong, and he tries to grab Elle with his claw one last time, but unfortunately Will is entering his mind, stopping him, and he tells Vecna they're not afraid anymore. I'm not afraid anymore. And the power of friendship is able to beat the mind flare and Vecna. Like, there are two of them versus everyone else. They keep shooting the balloons, the flare guns, the bullets, the flamethrower, whatever, and Elle finally uses both her hands that I've been saying for a while, and she stabs Henry Vecna through the spike, stabbing into his heart, as the mind flare is burning. His head is burning, and he just slowly is dying. And Steve and Dustin run from under it, as the Mind Flayer keeps burning alive. And yeah, we have Nancy, we have Lucas and Mike. Just yeah, the Mind Flayer just crashes down and just dies. And seemingly too, Vecna was stabbed through, so he's seemingly dead too. And then we have Nancy who shows up. She hugs Elle. She was able to get inside. Not sure why the Mind Flayer's body is not burning completely, but yeah, she goes to get Holly and she rips out the tube. She cuts her out, and Holly is able to regain consciousness, and then she coughs up the dust particles. And then Nancy, I'll admit, it's a pretty sweet scene because Nancy rarely ever spends time with Holly. So, she's like, "I'm here, Holly," and the sisters, Nancy hugs her, and yeah, it's just really sweet. And then the rest of the group arrive, and Mike hugs his little sister. And I'll admit, the Wheeler siblings hugging each other, that was nice. That was a good scene. So meanwhile, we have Dustin and everyone else trying to help the kids, rip the tubes out of their mouths, and then free them from the sludge. And we have Lucas, everyone else, Robin, everyone's helping the kids get out. Even Steve is helping Derek out of his pod and cleaning his glasses a little bit as Derek hugs him for saving him. And it's just I mean, nice scene. I like that. And then unfortunately though, we see that for some reason Vecna was staying quiet this whole time. It turns out he's actually still alive. He's coughing up blood. He's in agony and pain. Can't move, as as everyone notices. Everyone looks on as like, oh, he's still alive. And Elle, we have everyone who just looks on kind of sad at Vecna. They look on in kind of sadness, like this pathetic broken monster that has tormented them. But then we get flashbacks of how Vecna hurt each and every one of them over the many years. Joyce, who remembers when Will was kidnapped and almost died, from Vecna, and it's kind of a similar pose. And then they keep looking at him, and then finally I was kind of like, throughout the episode, I'm like, why is Joyce in this battle? And now I realize, like, oh, so that she can get the final kill. Because also I wonder if Henry recognized her, or if Joyce recognized Henry, because I think they teased that they were classmates. So, but that didn't really happen. So Joyce looks at Vecna, not feeling any sympathy, because she thinks back at everything he put her through. And then she remembers the death of Bob, how he was eaten alive by the Demodogs because of Vecna, how he hurt her family. And I'll admit, like, this was a crazy scene, because then she says, "You screwed with the wrong family." And I'll admit, I like that. The first F-bomb and only F-bomb in the entire series. I'm impressed. Stranger Things. And then Vecna kind of looked on angry after she said that, like he was going to attack her. But then she takes the axe from her back and stabs him in the neck with it to cut his head off. And yeah, these kids are definitely traumatized. They just look on as she slowly is killing Henry, and she keeps cutting into him. And everyone remembers the trauma that Vecna put him through. Holly remembers her mother almost dying, as Joyce keeps cutting into his neck. And then Jonathan remembers his trauma, as Joyce keeps cutting into his neck. And then Lucas, the scene where Max died for a few minutes, and then he's screaming out in pain, like holding her body, like he remembers that. We have Nancy remembering Barbara and how she lost her, and that she died because of her, because she wasn't attentive to her. Joyce keeps cutting Vecna's head. We have Dustin, who remembers Eddie's death because of Vecna. We have Mike, who remembers his trauma, thinking Elle died. We have Elle remembering her trauma, Will remembering his trauma, how the Demogorgon kidnapped him, how all these characters just remembering the trauma that Vecna gave them. And then Will remembering his trauma, like I said. And then boom, the head comes off, and Vecna is beheaded by Joyce and dies. And then Joyce just stands there like, oh man, like, and everyone just looks on like, wow, like, he's dead now. Like, we did it. Like, he's dead. They killed him. So meanwhile, back in the Upside Down, we have Hopper, who is trying to figure out what happened, and he's with Murray. And then Dustin says, "Hey, don't worry, Vecna is dead." So then after that, we have everyone relieved, to hear that. Murray activates the C4 bomb, and the characters are in the car talking. They're all excited. It seems a little bit too happy right now. everyone's just happy. Nancy hugs Holly, and Will is happy with his mom. The kids are back. Everything is good. Everyone is safe. They're alive. Mike is excited with Elle. And so is Derek. Everyone's going home. Robin tells Steve that he stinks because of the egg sacs that he and Dustin, destroyed when they were killing the Mind Flayer. Everyone is happy, excited. They're going home, and then as they enter the portal, unfortunately, there were spikes waiting for them. The tires blow out, and the soldiers surround them and get them out of the trucks. And I'm just like, are you freaking kidding me with this? They just saved the world. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm just so done with these soldiers, with Dr. K, just all of it. Just all of it. Like, for real. Like, I'm just so sick of it. And then, yeah, they have Vicky and Max too. They with the kids and all that. And just, I hate the military. Like, yeah, no, just the military. Like, especially in Stranger Things. And Dr. K is asking where Elle is, the girl, and Dustin and thinks that she escaped. And unfortunately, they see that Elle is in the Upside Down from the portal, and Mike tries to go get to her, but unfortunately, Elle pulls her into her mind and tells Mike that this is the only way to break the cycle. None of this will end if I'm still alive. You all have to live your lives because this is what needs to happen. She tells Mike she needs him to understand. She knows him better than anyone, and we get the flashbacks of when Mike was, romancing her as, they were kids and being friends and all that stuff, and just, all the years, everything they've been through. And the music keeps playing, they're crying, and then Mike hugs Elle one last time, begging her not to leave him and everyone else. And, he says, I love you, and they kiss one last time. And back in the present, Mike keeps shouting for Elle. Nancy tries to run, stop. No, that doesn't happen. I'm surprised the soldiers and Dr. K don't try something, but yeah, the music is about to end. And, what I mean, just Mike is trying again. Max looks on, Joyce looks on, Elle is very sad, Will looks on, and acting is really great here. Everyone just screaming Elle, and then boom, it hits the wire, it explodes, the exotic matter ball is destroyed, and that causes pretty cool like thing with the energy blast, and it explodes, and bright light shines, seemingly about to kill Elle. And then, yes, the wall is taken down, the flesh wall is taken down in the Upside Down, and everything in the Upside Down is completely sucked into the vacuum, the void, the Upside Down, all the houses, everything, debris everywhere, destroyed. And also, you notice that Elle is not moving at all, like, even though everything around her is being destroyed. So, yeah, Hopper looks on, screaming for Elle. Mike still keeps screaming, and Elle just looks on. She closes her eyes and fades as the storm takes her, and the void takes her, and everyone just takes cover, and it happened. Silence. It was super loud, then silence as everyone looks on. Mike just walks to and sees that the portal is gone now. It is just an old destroyed library. There's no more portal, no more Upside Down, no more Elle, no more Abyss, no more nothing. It just, yeah. Everyone looks on. Dustin, Lucas, Will, Joyce, Hopper. Everyone is just shocked, in awe, like no words, just silence, and just shocked. They can't even process what just happened. It literally is all thanks to Dr. K and his soldiers that Elle had to do that. Like, and then we get the time skip where we see a guy laying bricks, and they're rebuilding the city hall, and we have a memorial for everyone who died in the earthquake. I can't believe they're passing up that, like, yeah, it was an earthquake that happened, like. And then we see that, yeah, it was 18 months later. And also, they are playing back the music Landslide. The Walking Dead did this years ago, when they played the music Landslide after the Commonwealth stuff. And I'm just like, man, what is it took me back to that. Part of me was thinking, like, is that copying? I don't know. But yeah, we have Robin, and she's older now. She grew out her hair. And she's saying that, hi, hey, like, it's been a while. I'm part of, Hawkins is very good right now. I'm the the DJ radio host now, and just everything is normal. No more soldiers, kids playing with bikes. Everything's good now. It's kind of boring. It's safe, and that's just life. We see Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade playing in the movie theaters. It's now 1989, and just she mentions how she had a friend who has an excuse, and we see Steve teaching baseball to the kids. He's a coach. He's in his 20s now, I think early 20s, I don't know. And yeah, we have Robin. It's just like, yeah, everything's changed. Maybe it's the town that changed, maybe it's me, and just she's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a graduation today. And we see that Max is riding her skateboard, and Lucas says he's done with hospitals, and he's in his graduation gown. And the two reaffirm their relationship. They kiss, and meanwhile in Dustin's house, he's the valedictorian. His mother's taking pictures of him, and yeah, meanwhile we have Will, who's graduating. Jonathan's recording him and his mom and Hopper, and the light, the curtain goes down, so he's trying to fix it, and we see new Hopper, and then we get Karen calls Joyce, who says that Mike is missing, kind of like the first episode, except now instead of Will missing, Mike's missing. And we have in the town square, Mike is just sitting distraught. He's still not over what happened to Elle, still traumatized after what Elle seemingly died. And Hopper goes to see him, and he just talks to him about how his mom's worried, and Mike just says that how can we move on? It feels like we're forgetting Elle if we move on. Like she didn't matter to us. And then Mike even says that, we were going to go away somewhere far, 3 waterfalls. It was a stupid, childish thing, a dream I had. It was never going to happen. I should have known it. I was stupid for thinking it. And Hopper tells Mike it's not his fault what happened. Elle made her choice, and they have to accept it, and they have to move on with their lives. And he even tells Mike that, hey, you could just be a total jerk and close off yourself to everyone who cares about you, like I did when my Sarah died. So Hopper has lost 2 daughters now, but he says, I'm not going to do what I did the first time. I'm not going to close down. I'm not going to shut down. I'm going to accept my life, enjoy the good and the bad, and keep going forward, because that's what Sarah would have wanted for me. That's what Elle would have wanted. And he tells Mike that Elle wants you to be happy. So we have the graduation ceremony. It's getting ready. We get to see the parents, and everyone is older. They're talking. Everyone has like new hairdos, new looks and stuff, which is cool. Even Nancy, like, wow, what happened to Nancy? We even see Mrs. Byers, and she's got the scars from the Demogorgon. And yeah, we have the big class of '89, the graduation. We have Joyce there, parents and siblings. We have Mrs. Wheeler, who notices Mike is finally coming. She hugs him, and she mentions how she's so proud of him for growing up and all this stuff. And yeah, that happened. Yeah, Mike, Nancy is off on her own. Mike is gonna be on his own too, and yeah. So yeah, we have the principal talking. He introduces the valedictorian, which, as we know, is Dustin. He's being recorded by Jonathan, and he mentions how we had a childhood that was stolen from us. He's mentioning back to the first episode how we've all been through so much. Our town has had a weird history, and he mentions that there was a lot of bad in that chaos that we had to go through over the years. And he says that, but there was also a lot of good too, which is part of life. You know what I mean? He mentions D&D, which upsets Hopper, and he's just like, there's types of chaos. There's good and bad chaos, and we have Erica setting up a confetti dispenser shooter. And he mentions how, like, in the chaos, we all found each other. Our walls came down. We all became friends. The jocks, the nerds, freaks. It didn't matter. It was just because with the chaos, we valued each other more than just, expectations and stuff. And he says that we became friends with so many different kinds of people. And, we built relationships through the chaos, and we learned more about ourselves. We became better people. We get to see everyone as he's talking, and he mentions how I'm better because of the people this journey, because of the people I met on it. And he mentions how I hope that things never change. In a way, just the chaos returns to make better people like us, And he mentions that
he kind of talks down to the principal, and he rips off his gown, showing the Hellfire shirt, and he calls out the school. The principal tries to take him, but he says, "Screw the school, everything." He's acting like a complete rebel, saying that he's just done with the system, and this is our year. Nothing can stop us. Nothing can take anything away from us. And as everyone shouts, and and then he flips off the principal, which, oh my goodness, Dustin, that was hilarious. He takes his diploma, and yeah, that's over. And then Erica shoots out the confetti. Everyone screams celebration, and oh my goodness, the principal's such a dork. He's like, summer school for all of you, and detention. It's like, you can't do that. They've graduated. You have no power over them, no authority. But Mike starts to notice the stereos, and either he has PTSD from when Elle died, or he notices something's off with the satellite dishes or whatever, the satellite guns. Not sure. But yeah, anyways, the friends hug it out. Impressed with what Dustin did, that kind of thing, telling him he's crazy for what he said to the principal up there. And then we have Stacy, that popular girl from season 2, that she refused to dance with Dustin during the prom back when they were in middle school. And now it's been 4 years later, and she's like, "Yeah, Dustin, that was kind of cool. That was such a bad boy thing, and I'm having a party. You want to come?" And it's just like, of course, right, like, you go from a nerd to a bad boy, and girls just automatically love you. Although, what happened to Susie? Like, is Dustin still dating her? Like, I don't know. But Mike says he has a better idea. He's like, screw girls. How about, let's do something fun tonight, And then we have the radio tower where the characters, the adults, are talking about rent and stuff. And Steve just mentions how enjoy the moment, and we see Jonathan, who, gosh, his hair is so bad. We have Nancy, we have Robin, and they're all drinking beer, and it's funny because it's totally legal now because they're definitely past 21 now. So yeah, and Jonathan's just like, no, like, we're moving on with our lives. Like, you couldn't pay me to deal with this stuff again. And even Nancy's shocked. Steve is a coach, but also a sex ed teacher, and everyone's just moving on with their lives. They have different jobs now, different things. And even Jonathan's doing his own, like, movie, The Consumer or something. He's gonna try and, like, work on a movie or something. In the meantime, he's struggling with rent, and Robin asks Nancy what she's gonna do, and she mentions she dropped out of school. She's got this job at the Herald. She's gonna be a journalist, kind of thing. And yeah, it's just that kind of happened. Robin even says that, I miss this, I miss us. Even though we went through a lot, like, those times we were together, I just kind of miss them. And she mentions, like, my old new friends are just not the same. Like, and everyone gets emotional, and they agree to meet up in Philadelphia after they all split up. And they're gonna meet up at Robin's weird uncle's place to meet up and hang out once a month, kind of thing. And yeah, all the characters just have their own things, their own lives. Jonathan has a movie, Nancy wants to be a journalist, Robin has a radio thing, and Steve is, a teacher and is going to try and start a family with someone soon. And yeah, Steve is once again the ladies' man, having different girls in his life, as, everyone is just talking, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And that's how their story ends. And then meanwhile, at the fancy restaurant, I forgot what it's called, I will be honest with you, but we have Hopper and Joyce having a date, and Hopper mentions how he's proud of the kids, proud of her, and they've come through so far, and now that Jonathan and Will are gonna not probably be living with Joyce anymore, like, Hopper mentions how he got a new job somewhere kind of far, that will pay more, and he mentions how, I'd like you to come with me, and it's just something that she is thinking about. And then Hopper plays some music and then proposes to Joyce. That's not the same ring as the one Jonathan had for Nancy, is it? But yeah, he proposes. Joyce says yes, and they dance in the restaurant. So yeah. Meanwhile, back at Mike's house, we have the characters playing D&D one last time, And it's so funny how it's been like 6 years, and just I don't know, it's just so funny. But yeah, the characters are playing D&D, a campaign, and unfortunately they're losing. They lost. Will even says they can't do anything um, against the game changer, and it's they lost. They basically lost against Mike, who's the guy in charge. And even Max throws a fit. Like, she's so pissed off, like, that they lost. Like, after everything we've been through, we lose. And then they bring up the mage, which is a metaphor for 11, and just like, hey, summon her. And they summon her, and Mike says that, yeah, you guys won. You summoned her because you had your special summon the mage card, and she defeated the vampire, and just, kind of like that. And they won. Everyone celebrates, and they're like, that was a great campaign. And then Max is like, wait a minute, like, give us a better ending for every character. And Mike is like, okay, like, they found happiness. Here's how. And he does the metaphor characters. He says that Lucas and Max, their characters ended up happy in a romance, still had trauma, but their love grows. And then for Dustin, he becomes a scholar. His character becomes a scholar, showing him in the university, and he still has adventures, and we see him hanging out with Steve. We have Will at some kind of bar or something. Pretty sure he's not old enough, but yeah. Anyways, he just meets some random guy, and some friend or something, and yeah, Will's gonna try, start new friends and relationships. And then meanwhile, we see Mike with glasses. I don't think he's ever had glasses before, but he's typing a story. He's just typing a story, and he's gonna become a writer. That's what he's gonna do. He's gonna make great stories. And he mentions the story of the mage. There's a story I can't tell you. Did anyone ask how she casted the spell? And he does a metaphor where he tells them how. Now, I don't know if this is real or not, or his imagination, but he mentions how, through a metaphor, he mentions how Elle came up with a plan with Callie to fake her death so that the military would get off their backs. Callie used her power from far away. She didn't actually die. She used her power from far away to make everyone think that Elle was invisible when the military caught her, and when they saw Elle die, when the Upside Down vanished, that wasn't Elle. That was a hallucination. And everyone is very happy and sad to hear this, because they're crying of joy, possibly, at the thought that Elle's alive. Although they should be asking, like, dude, Mike, tell us right now, is Elle alive? Are you serious? And then we see Elle maybe somewhere in Norway. Jane, she is just in this remote area with mountains, and she comes across this small town area with 3 waterfalls on the side. And yeah, and Mike says she found a new home, a place to belong, where no one could hurt her ever again. And just that's what he said. And then they're like, how do we know this is what happened? Like, how do we know Elle's alive? And Mike says, we don't, but we have to believe she is. And yeah, I think they leave it open to interpretation. And Lucas says, I believe. And everyone says, I believe. They believe that Elle is alive, that she faked her death, and that, she's happy somewhere. And then Karen comes in and is like, she tells everyone that, hey, the lasagna's getting cold, time to eat, the game's over. And everyone packs up. And we have Max putting her game folder away. We have Lucas doing it. These characters are done. They're adults now. And we have Will puts his away. And then Mike puts his book away. No longer D&D. We see the characters' names: Mac, Lucas, Dustin, Will, Mike. And yeah, just Mike is going up the stairs to eat and takes one last look back at the basement where they always played. And all of a sudden, Holly and her friends come in, and they're actually taking over. It's their turn to play. They're playing the next generation. They're the next generation of the kids. They're the next Stranger Things family. They're arguing with each other. The girls and Derek and the friends, like, just Mike just watches them on, like, sad but also so proud. Like, now it's the next generation of kids. They're gonna take over, and Mike and them are gonna go into new stuff. And Mike just accepts it. This is the end of an era. And he goes upstairs and closes the door, and then you can hear the kids laughing and yelling at each other still. And then it slowly cuts to black, and then boom, created by the Duffer Brothers. That's it. That's the end of Stranger Things. And they give us the leaving Hawkins soon, come back again soon, like leaving Hawkins. maybe teasing that there's more story to tell, but just not the same kind. And then we see some weird journal. Also, they're playing the One More Day song, I Had a Dream. They played this. If you guys have never seen the regular show, they did the epilogue with this song, and it took me back to that. And I'm just like, man, I do like that. I do. But part of me is like, are they copying it? I don't know. But we see the Stranger Things manual, and it's like, wait a minute. Did Mike create this D&D Stranger Things? Or is everything from Stranger Things just a dream? Like, none of this ever happened. Like, none of this is real. Nothing we saw was real. So many questions. But I will say this: my only huge flaw with the final episode is that they let Dr. K get away with her crimes. In terms of the writers, in terms of the characters, Dr. K in the military getting away with her horrible crimes. She murdered pregnant women and children. Like, she caused their deaths. Multiple innocent women and children, like babies. Just no. Dr. K should have died for what she did, and that is just a huge plot hole. Like, I'm sorry, but that is my one main plot hole. But honestly, guys, I'm sad to see Stranger Things go. It was great. I loved it. And yeah, that's going to be it for my review. Please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time, guys. Take care and have a great new year. Bye.